2021. We are opening the Zoom meeting at 7:16. I welcome everybody. We're going to start with item number 2, which is a public hearing. Could I have a motion?
No, we don't need a motion. We can just start.
I like that. Could you have somebody read it, please?
Sure. Yeah, let me find it. Oops, hang on. Okay. The public hearing on special permit number 296 and site plan number 63 for Copart of Connecticut, Inc. under section 3.24.4 of the Town of Warren zoning bylaws. The applicant is requesting to operate a junkyard/automobile graveyard, which includes the storage of junk/scrap vehicles and parts. The property is located at 600 Old West Warren Road, also known as Assessors Map 15, lots 52 and 54, map 16, lot 7, which are in the residential district.
All right, so I heard we got new set of plans. Is who is going to? Oh, David, you're here.
I am here.
So I'm gonna have you give us a little bit of an update of the project. And I know you just submitted this to PAC for peer review, so we probably will make it short and go from there.
Sure. I thank you again for having us. I appreciate having the opportunity to speak with you guys, even if it's in this digital format. So as you may recall, at the last meeting, there was a bit of discussion about the format that we'd be using moving forward. So I'm not sure if this is going to be the final format, if we're just going to do everything Zoom hearing from now on. It doesn't much matter to us either way, but if we've got something settled, I'm glad to hear it. So as you may recall, so my name is David Burson. I'm an attorney from S. David White PC, formerly of Bacon Wilson. I'm here tonight on behalf of Copart of Connecticut, Inc. With me tonight is Patrick Serra from Copart, who is the manager at the West Warren facility. You're all familiar with him by now, as well as Keith Terry from Sherman and Frederick, as well, who has been with us from the beginning of this process. So we are, as was mentioned, seeking special permits under section 3.24 subsection 4, as well as section 1.5 of the Warren zoning bylaws. We did receive that peer review prior to the last meeting, and we have submitted the response, our initial response to the peer review. I believe it was the 20th, very recently. That being said, I apologize for the delay in the submission. We didn't get our traffic impact study back from our traffic engineers until the 20th. So as soon as we had that back, we were able to submit. That being said, we understand that the peer review tech hasn't had a chance to review what we've submitted. Or if they have, they probably haven't had a chance to do much of a review considering the length of time they've had a chance to look at it. So we do expect that there will be, a continuation for a more, full hearing to discuss the details of this plan at a later date. That being said, Keith Terry is here from Sherman and Frederick. If there were specific questions that you had about the changes to the plan, alternatively, we, once again, we're happy. I don't want to waste anybody's time here tonight either. So we're happy to, move this to another night so we can have a fuller discussion after the peer reviews had a chance. But we're also happy to discuss whatever the board would like to tonight, even if it's just a, general overview.
Thank you, David. Does anybody on the board has some comments?
I have a question on the plans. Do you know, are the residents, the abutters, are they on wells or town water? And I guess if they're on wells, have the wells been marked on the plans?
So as far as I know, the Old West Warren Road is does not have a water on the street. So each individual building is on their own well water. And no one discussed that previously, so we have not located the wells on the individual lots.
All right, I mean, that might be important if there's gonna be runoff from the site in any way.
So the stormwater management policy requires the infiltration basins to be over 100 feet from well water or wells. And the location of the infiltration basin is well over 100 feet from the property lines, the exterior property lines. I'd have to measure the detention basin, but I expect that detention basin is close to 100 feet from the perimeter line as well. So we're meeting the stormwater management policy in that regard.
Okay. And I guess maybe I'm getting ahead of myself with the wells question, but could you just give us an overview of what's changed? I mean, we have an old set of plans from March, I believe, and now we have these new plans. And I mean, obviously it looks like there's a new basin in the northeast corner, right? And then the basins have changed. So, I mean, can you just give us an overview of what's new or what's changed?
Yeah, if I was able to swap to the plans themselves, I'd point them out directly.
I can, hold on a sec. Okay, you should be able to do that now.
All right. Are you you're looking at the set of plans now?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So there's the overview, and there's the existing conditions with the dark green is the forested areas. This blue section here is an additional wetland element that we flagged due to the change in the project. So if we move on to the full site development, the gray is the storage area. This lower basin here is a detention basin that was there previously in the last plans. This basin here is an infiltration basin. That is an addition. This basin is an infiltration basin. That's an addition to the plans. This basin up here on the north section of the property, that was there originally on the first set of plans. And the final infiltration basin is set up here on the northeast corner of the storage area. The reason for the infiltration basins is because the peer review requirements, in order to meet the peer review comments, we had to add infiltration into the project. So that's basically the changes to the site.
Well, and you reversed the flow on the southeast basin, right? Wasn't that going to dump out?
So the southeast basin had two outlets in the original documents. The southeast basin had a primary outlet here where the infiltration basins have been introduced, and it also had a secondary outlet down by Old West Warren Road. So we have removed that secondary outlet, and we've directed the entire discharge to the new infiltration basins. And those infiltration, I'm going to go to a better. So the infiltration basins discharge to our property, and that the topography directs the flow into this wetlands here that runs down to Old West Warren Road. So we've reduced the amount of overland flow down to West Warren Road, behind the residential properties and out to West Warren Road.
And have you talked to conservation yet about the being near that second wetland?
So a notice of intent has been submitted to the Conservation Commission for their review. We may be on the February hearing. I'm waiting on confirmation on that.
Okay.
Would you like me to, should we continue sharing, or do you?
David, it's David Dufresne. Hey, can you go a little more over that additional basin that you have there? That's looks like it's being built right in wetlands.
Okay, so it is not being built right into the wetlands. As I said, we delineated a new set of wetlands here. The outer slope of the detention basin does come near to the limit of the wetlands, but it's not being built in the wetlands. The only disturbance that this proposal has is disturbance to the wetland buffer.
So you're asking for conservation to allow that for you then? Where you're going to?
Yes, the notice of intent lists the amount of disturbance that is in the 100-foot buffer zone. And that's what the Conservation Commission is going to review.
Rich, do you have anything further for him, or?
Well, I'll just throw out, there was a question about oil water separators. Are those included in the infiltration basins?
So the oil water separator for this detention basin is positioned at the outlet of the detention basin. So the oil water separator is positioned to capture any kind of floatables or anything that's in the water prior to the infiltration basin. On the north side of the site, we have that large detention basin that also has a storm scepter or a water quality device, and that is the primary discharge that will treat the first discharge from that detention basin. And we're also introducing a water quality device on the northeast corner of the storage area, so we can treat that overland flow before going into the infiltration basin.
You good, Rich?
Yes.
So I actually have some questions too. I was going over the plans that you dropped off, and on test site 13 or 3 that you did, one of the documents, it says it's been whited out at the bottom, and it was written in that there's no water detected in the hole. But yet above in the notes, it does say it was wet in the hole. Why was that whited out?
All right, so I'm looking at the results of test site 3 on test pit 3, I guess. And so what you're looking at the bottom, so there's three items to note: depth to groundwater, standing water in the hole, weeping from the pit face, estimated seasonal high water. So standing water from the hole, there's none. Weeping from the pit face is 34 inches. Estimated seasonal high groundwater is 31 inches. Is that the results you're talking about?
Yes.
All right. So He whited out whatever he was had first listed, and he's saying that at the time that he did the test pit, that there was no standing water in the hole. He does note that there's weeping water from the pit face at 34 inches. Okay. And then he estimated seasonal high water at 31 inches from the existing grade. So basically, they dug the hole. They didn't have any water in the hole. He made his evaluation, then he filled it up before it filled with water.
Okay. Now, did you document these holes? Did you photograph them, anything like that?
No, this is a standard soil evaluation. You go out with a clipboard and you write down your notes and then close the hole up.
Okay. Now, I was looking over the water tests that were done, checking for different chemicals. Now, did you guys find chemicals in any of that water or anything along that site?
Just to clarify, this is David Burson answering now. So we did not do any of the water quality testing at all. So that was all done by a third party, which is why there was a chain of custody included with the results that were provided. We had nothing beyond ordering that test. So whatever was included in those results is what we got.
Okay, and did they find anything in that water? Any chemicals?
Not to my knowledge.
Did you review it?
I did review it. What I saw, as far as I could see, was there was some rust noted, which is, understanding considering there has been a salvage yard site here for much longer than we've been here. That's for sure. But I would note that the lack of volatile chemicals is speaks for itself with respect to how we handle our site. So,
well, I'm reading it. It does look like there was stuff found.
Well, I would allow the peer reviewer to do what they have to do.
Okay.
Those results.
And now, was that little on the other side? Did you guys do a test of the water? This little pond that's over there that's feeding into the stream, going down to the river?
I believe what we included was we had drinking water tests done for the house located at 600 Old West Warren Road. And we also had some of the wetlands tested as well by another third party. So I'm not sure specifically what, but we also did provide, I believe, a map of where those tests were taken in the interior wetlands.
Okay. So nowhere actually in the site.
I mean, all of the wetlands were within our site.
Where the vehicles are actually being stored.
Correct.
Hey, David, this is Patrick.
Yes.
So we did have three tests done. One was on the interior pond where the vehicles were stored during the when we did the site walk. And you noticed that there was some kind of outfall, which was the beaver path. So we had that pond tested. We had the well water tested at our office building. And then we had towards the end of our driveway off to the right-hand side, we had that area tested as well.
So what do you have that listed, that pond? What do you have that listed as that you had it tested?
That would be the number 2 test.
Okay. Because I'm looking at one that says Chevron site. Does this have anything to do with this?
I'm going to pull up my results right now.
In Orange County, California. Did you give us the right ones?
I'm just-
You can share on the screen.
Unless you were using that as a sample. Was it all the Phoenix stuff?
Yes, it's all the Phoenix stuff. So the first test had the potability, and then it had the VOCs with it as well.
So which one is the pond?
The pond would be the December 31st. Sorry, it's the 10/21/20 test.
I understand where the confusion is coming from.
Yeah, you included one in there.
No,
The
so
chevron thing was a sample.
yeah, so that's actually a sample as part of the Copart's environmental management plan package, and then yeah, the water testing happens to be right after that.
Right.
So, yeah.
Probably not the best location to put it.
Yeah, maybe you should have put some. Yeah, could have broken it up a little bit.
Separated a little bit. I'm like, why are we getting a quality test from Chevron here?
We don't want their quality test.
No. Okay. I'm good for now. Derick, if you want to continue on.
Ed? You have anything, Ed?
No, I'm gonna, just want to look these over and see what TEC comes up with.
I was looking at the set of plans that I downloaded. They have a date of 1/11, and I see these plans have a newer date. Is that anywhere I can download it?
What newer date are you referring to?
Well, the plans you show are different than the plans that I downloaded from the email you guys sent to us. And these are dated 1/11. And I saw on your screen, when you share the screen, that they have colors and there's another revision with a date. I couldn't read the number, it was too small.
Keith, can you put the plans back up?
Okay, so here I'm sharing the screen again, correct?
Yep.
So what you see is these were, the color plans were printed out for display only. And you can see that the revision date is still the 1/11/21 here in the bottom corner.
Okay, yeah, but the ones I have, they don't have the new wetlands flag. It's okay, if it's if the only difference is these ones are black and white, that's okay.
Keith, is there? Can you just upload the color version of those to the
Yeah.
Dropbox?
Yeah, I can. So here's this is the actual plans that we submitted to the town. But I can upload it. I can upload the color display for people to look at as well.
Thank you.
Nice, thank you. Do we have, if the board doesn't have any comments, does the public have any comments?
Whatever they use for infiltrators and stuff have to be inspected a few times a year. Who's going to bear the cost of that?
So Coparts has submitted with these documents an operation and maintenance plan that will include going through all of these basins and going through all these water quality devices and maintaining them annually and as required. Some items will be reviewed 3 or 4 times a year. Other items don't have to be inspected as often.
Anybody else?
Mr. Chair, this is Kevin Dandridge from TEC. How are you?
How are you, Kevin? You were next.
I'll let other public participate.
No, that's
first.
okay. You can come in.
I just thought it would be helpful just to give a very high-level summary of some of the concerns that we noted in our November 12th letter and the things that we'll be looking for within the revised package. Particularly some where, after a very quick review of the submission that was made between Thursday and Friday, I would like to make a recommendation to the board for one thing in particular, which is kind of building off the conversation a moment ago about wells, the infiltration, the treatment for oil and grit separators on the site. I'd like to make the recommendation that the board request of the applicant, or we can do it directly, to seek an opinion from a specialty geoenvironmental engineer, because some of these concerns are ones that, based on the limited amount that I reviewed of the responses, would continue to be a concern for our firm on behalf of the town and the abutters for just making sure there's a proper level of due diligence. As far as the water testing that was done, I was unable to find the map that was referred to for where these specific locations are, but I did speak with a geoenvironmental engineer this morning because I'm working with several on different projects. And as far as doing kind of a high-level review of what's been submitted to date and some recommendations for how to approach some of the items that may be ongoing concerns, it's a recommendation I think would be done with the proper level of expertise in looking at what I referred to in our November 12th letter as a proactive way of trying to address some of these, the potential for migration of contaminants instead of being what appeared to be more reactive in nature. So as far as the expertise goes, that geoenvironmental is not something that sits at TEC, but we have sub-consultants that we've often used that can provide that high-level review and some guidance that may help make it, I think, better for the board and the applicant, prior to the next hearing.
I actually like that idea, and getting a more detailed perspective of it will help us understand it and make sure that we can mitigate any problems if they were to arise. So I would say let's maybe do a motion to get a geoengineer per the recommendation of tech.
David Burson here on behalf of Copart. I don't mean to interrupt, but at the same time, I think that we should have an opportunity to at least respond to that before a motion is made by the board.
Okay.
My recommendation at the very least is that we allow tech to do the review of what we've submitted. I'll be happy to provide a map detailing the locations. My understanding it was submitted, I'll make sure it's on the Dropbox for everybody to see of where those water quality tests were taken from. Quite frankly, I can't just say that my client, and I don't mean Patrick here, I mean Copart, the entity, is just necessarily going to agree to a, geo-environmental and engineering's review of these results when it appears from at least our review that we're complying both with the stormwater management plan as well as the results we have submitted, at least appear to indicate that we are not currently an environmental hazard to the area. So at the very least, I would request that the peer review be done of what we have submitted. Maybe we address this at the next hearing as to whether or not we believe it's appropriate. I'd also like to speak with Copart and the higher ups and kind of give them a heads up as to what may be coming their way. And I don't know, they may have an environmental expert that they want to send here as well. So I just want to make it clear that we would certainly like an opportunity to have what we've submitted reviewed and potentially address this request at the next hearing, if at all possible.
So David, thank you very much. But tech they're our peer reviewer and they're making a recommendation to us for assistance, I think as the board, we should fulfill that requirement that they're asking for and allow a geoengineer to assist them on that, because they have some questions that are beyond their scope. And I think that could help resolve anything. And you certainly have the ability to notify Copart and let them know. But I would take the recommendations of our peer reviewer to go forward with that geoengineer.
Mr. Chair, if I could just add some commentary for the why piece of we'd recommend it. We had recommended it within that November letter, so it hasn't. This is not a new discussion item per se, but just to describe, what we saw out there in the field, and maybe many of the board members had as well. And we're caught between a couple different elements of stormwater compliance that are unique for this application. For the expanse of this, proposed gravel yard, for one, which if it was truly gravel, it would be compacted and be nearly impervious, which would allow for that, sheet flow runoff down to a series of basins. What we witnessed out there was a series of crushed rock, blast rock, etc., that had significant voids in it that, when you have a surface elevation of land, and if it's made up of, chunks of rock, which was what much of that easterly parking field, salvage field were, it does not have necessarily the ability to convey that water to the basins, to then go into the detention basin and then go into a treatment device, which I understand, I haven't seen it yet, but I guess that was introduced in the submission. However, with the presence of those vehicles directly over what appears to be this porous area with significant voids, it's possible that whatever may drip, if and how it's contained, could, immediately go into the soils and may not ever go into those catch basins or those treatment trains. So there's an element here of, the more traditional drainage analysis that we've provided comments on, and then I understand they've provided a new submittal, a revised report, some new plans to try to get at total suspended solids removal and the like. But there are elements of this related to the groundwater side and the ability for potential contaminants to migrate along the top of ledge and in some of these more porous areas of crushed rock that, again, may not be treated in some of these traditional senses. Now, I can tell you from prior experience that our team has had to do extensive oil and grit separation for traditional parking lots because it is a land use of higher potential pollutant load, as they call it, with DEP. So this is not something that we are doing in a vacuum or without a certain level of experience. We just can see the potential here and the need for a more in-depth review on the geo-environmental side. So, there are a number of other concerns that we raised, but that's one that I think is paramount amongst the others, only because of, the size of the property, the expansion of the existing use, and the topography that we're dealing with here.
And I agree with David and also with Kevin, because we know in this particular town, there is a lot of very shallow cover over ledge, and it doesn't allow for, if the water goes other places that you don't know unless you're a geological engineer. And maybe even then you don't know.
We also witnessed dripping on our site visit in whatever it was, September, October, our first site visit.
We documented several little drips along the property. when we were told there were none. There were several photos taken. Chairman Veliz took a lot of photos of pretty significant drips and leaks from the vehicles up there that were over a prolonged period. So I'm definitely concerned with the chemicals getting into the ground and the water. And I think it's a very good idea to have the geoengineer give us a more detailed view on that. Derick, what's your feeling?
I think it's fair enough. That's why we have the peer review. They can suggest us what to do. I think I agree as well.
So I would make a motion to accept Tech's request for a geoengineer to review.
Second.
Aye.
Aye. Kevin, you got your geoengineer.
Sounds good. And just for, kind of a point of reference, I think the initial review should be less than $3,500. And with the recent submission of a traffic study that was not originally scoped, and in some of the more robust revisions on the site documents, I would suggest that although we have, I think, roughly 3,000 left in our peer review budget up till tonight, I would recommend that the board secure another, $5,500 just to make sure that we've got enough to get through. But based on my discussion this morning, I expect $3,500 to be more than sufficient for the introductory opinions from a geoenvironmental engineer.
Okay. So, David, can you make sure we get some more money in there for the engineers?
See what I can do. As far as the geoengineer, it sounds like that motion is going to pass. I'm just going to.
Well, it did pass.
Okay, I wasn't sure if I heard the official vote, but regardless, I'm going to just make a suggestion. Let me just reach out to Copart. I don't know if they have a specific company they prefer to use. So I just, would like to leave
Well, we're going to use our own company. We're not going to use Copart's company. If you want to look into it with your company also, that's fine. But we're not going to utilize your company for that peer review.
I don't think I was asking for anything out of standard practice, but that's fine. Thank you again for your time tonight. Unless you have more questions for us, I think we're just looking for a continuation.
Okay.
I'll do a motion to continue. How long are we looking at? Keith? Is he still along with us?
Oh,
How long is he going to need?
I'm finished with my project. We need to hear the peer reviews review of our work. The geotechnical work is going to be something outside of my scope.
So Kevin, what do you think for timeline?
I would imagine that with our receipt of the documents Thursday, Friday of last week, we should be complete with much of the traditional civil aspects within 2 to 3 weeks. The timing of the geoenvironmental opinion, again, we're looking for more overarching guidance and advice given what's been submitted to date, and not necessarily doing testing, but maybe a suggestion if it's warranted, where that might take place. And that's something where I think to get with Mr. Burson's thought process on this is that, it's why it may be beneficial for both the board and the applicant to kind of give this overarching advice now, is, in the context of how many hearings, when is it done, to try to provide that guidance as early in the process as we reasonably can. That's my goal, and to try to bring them on board now. So I would recommend that if we can look out maybe 6 weeks from now. That should provide more than sufficient time to put everything together. And if we can provide our follow-up peer review letter within 3 to 4 weeks, we absolutely will. But what that does is might give a couple weeks for the applicant to chew on things and then offer a comprehensive response at the next meeting, just so that some of the stuff is submitted beforehand.
Maybe you're asking for 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks because of weather and everything with the winter and just making sure everything is good. Everybody is able to get out and do what they need to do.
Yeah, I would imagine a site visit's going to be important. And, I heard that we could get a couple inches.
We're supposed to get some good snow right now.
So Murphy's Law, right?
Yeah.
It's been dry and clear for the most part to date. But yeah, I mean, just in case, if that provides a couple extra weeks to be conservative to try to see some clear ground, that might be beneficial.
Just don't want to, I know with the other board members and everybody, we just don't want to keep on coming back and continuing over and over and over. We'd like to have something in front of us that we can look at and really get into. So I would say 8 weeks, as long as David and Keith are good with that from Copart.
It's fine from our perspective. Whatever time tech needs for their review, that's what they need.
So sometime in March, like the 22nd, or?
That's fine with me.
So I make a motion to continue till March 20. Oh,
David.
never mind.
Yeah, hold on.
Sorry.
We have a question from Rich Demetrius from Comcom. Richard,
Is he there?
Rich? There's a question about the drips.
Yeah, hello?
hi, Rich.
Hey, Rick.
Go ahead.
Hi. I mean, are we talking like gallons of oil, or are we just talking like natural drips from like everyday cars?
No, they're from damaged vehicles that were.
Yeah, but I know what
leaking
they're
out their
from, but I mean,
fluids.
how, are they, can you describe what the drips were? Were they drips like a regular normal car drips like in every parking lot we have around, or was it like gallons of oil? Because
Well,
we got to be
I'm hoping it's
careful. We
not
got to
like
be
them.
careful. I mean, every parking lot you have cars that are dripping oil. Like even our own town hall, we have a ton of oil being dripped. You know what I mean? So you can't expect every single car not to drip a little bit of oil. And that's what I'm getting at. Do we have? I mean, are they major spills up there, or are they just small incidents?
No, I think they were pretty decent drips. It wasn't gallons, but it was way more than like, if you just have a leaky car. I mean, these were, you could see drip, 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 that kind of thing. I mean, we have the photographs, so.
Okay. That's what I was wondering at, because we got to be careful. I mean, somebody could come to the town hall and go through our town hall, and we could end up having to tear up our entire parking lot and put stormwater controls in there. You know what I mean? So I just want to see us get in trouble here.
But also in the town hall parking lot, there's, 10 cars, 12 cars. There's not thousands of cars. So
Well, yeah, and that's semantics. I mean, there's cars every day there in and out all the time. So, I mean, I just wanted to clarify if we had major spills or if we just had small drips. That was what I was getting at.
Well, I mean, so this also brings up a point. I mean, in the literature that we got with this latest submission, it talks about how Copart covers up the cars, like the damaged cars, like the engines and stuff. If they're exposed, they're supposed to be covered up. I can find that, but we didn't witness anything being covered up. Ensure all vehicle with exposed engine compartments are covered and not exposed to rainwater. This also goes for fuel tanks on heavies or anything where rainwater could cause the tank's contents to be expelled from the tank. I'm not sure that we saw vehicles covered up.
Were there hoods missing, hoods and stuff missing on cars and stuff?
Oh, yeah. There was some, seriously damaged cars. So.
To be followed up on then. Okay, I just wanted because I wasn't sure what you're talking about for drips. If it was just small drips or if it was gallons of oil, and if they were DEP violations or not.
Just to answer that, no, none of the cars on site or the damaged vehicles on site are filled with fluids. They're drained prior to be moving back to the main lot. So those drips that may occur would have been from fluids that didn't get catched when they actually drained the fluids at the site prior to getting to Copart. So,
Actually, David, you keep on saying that, and that's not exactly correct. You've made it very clear that Copart does not remove any fluids on site. That it's either done previously for the car wreck, where it's drained out at the car wreck, or they're contained in the vehicle still so they can start the vehicle up, but you don't drain any fluids out of the vehicles. So it's kind of a little misinformation you're spreading there.
Well, David, I'd like to speak to this is Patrick Sarah. So David's right. We do not drain any fluids on site. That does not occur. We have vehicles that if they're in a substantial accident, most of the fluids will leak out prior to coming to us. If a vehicle is identified as a leaker, when it comes into our property, it is addressed at that point in the receiving area.
How is it addressed?
It would be addressed by a continuing drip pan. It would be addressed with FM 186, and then it would be kept in one area until the continuing drip stopped, and then it would be placed out into the yard with a continuing drip pan that they look at every single day that has oil absorbent pads inside the pan. And then if the fluids start to come up to the top of the pan, it would be changed out.
I don't think we saw drip
We didn't see any of that.
No, we didn't.
I can assure you that they're out there.
Well, we didn't see it with our site visit, and we looked around there pretty good. And
you were there for an hour, and we looked at 39 acres and 2,800 cars. So
and a lot of bills.
Yeah, but we did see like 7 or 8 cars at least, right?
Perhaps you ought to have another site visit.
Derick, can you dig up those photos?
Yeah.
Because I think the other thing on what you guys were talking about with these spills is that after we treat a spill with FM 186, it does discolor the rocks. That's a known fact on what occurs in the process until the hydrocarbons start to break down.
But does that FM 186 work on the gravel? I mean, the literature you gave us, it was used for pavement where you brush it and stuff.
Right. So there's 2 different methods on cleaning up a spill. We have the pavement or we have the gravel area. With the gravel area, you're agitating the surface, you're spraying down the FM 186, and then you're adding fertilizer and water, and then that chemical reaction breaks down the hydrocarbons on the gravel.
Okay, we didn't see any of that when we were up there. And we've seen a lot of these spills that were all over, and some of them were pretty active. I've reached down and put my finger in active oil spills. So it's not happening. We didn't see that. I'm sorry, but that's not what we witnessed when we were up there.
And the FM 186, that's for hydrocarbons only, right? So if there's an antifreeze leak or, I don't know what brake fluid is, if that's a hydrocarbon. But how would non-hydrocarbon leaks be dealt with?
The non-hydrocarbon leaks, we would kind of excavate that top a little bit of soil that would be there, and then that would go into the disposal bags.
Where were those, Patrick?
Those are in our garage.
Okay, because we didn't see any of that.
You didn't go in our garage, I don't think.
You didn't offer either.
Well,
You had free access to our site.
if I may also, and I do want to make it clear, we did open up the entirety of the site for the planning board's review. And, specifically the portion of the site that we're not requesting any work or expansions on. So, I think maybe it is worth having another site visit so we can maybe showcase some of those, policies in action. But I do want to make it clear that we've made ourselves very available as far as opening up the site in terms of, not just the expansion, but the current active site. And we'll continue to work with the planning board if another site visit is warranted.
Yeah, we only had a short amount of time, or a certain amount of time. We had another site visit after that, so we didn't have the opportunity to view everything. That's why I think another site visit might be in order.
Probably makes sense.
Yeah.
Anybody else have anything else? So I'll do a motion to continue till March. What was the date, Rich?
What did we say, the 22nd?
22nd, yeah.
March 22nd, pending the peer review and geoengineer review.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Okay. So the next step, we're gonna continue with the discussion about rules and regulations.
Mr. Chair, thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin.
Very
Thanks.
well. Have a good evening.
So we're gonna discuss about the regulations that we were talking last time. Rich, you have the,
Yep. Give me a sec here. All right, everybody got that?
Got it.
Got it.
Okay. All right, so these are the general bylaw changes. I just threw a letter. They would be numbered in the real thing, so I threw some letters after them just so we can refer to them. So basically, if you remember last time, I had more of an outline of things. And this is what would actually be submitted. And this is what we'll have to present at the public hearing. These actual changes that we're going to propose. So just again, going over, I think, so from what changed from last time was, I think we were all in agreement that we were going to deny junkyard, automobile graveyard, and auto auction services from all zones. So I did that. Rural, no. Residential, no. Village, no. Commercial, no. And then the MDOD, no. And I, like we talked about, it seems like a legitimate way to ask the town if they want to do this is give them an article and they can vote on it. So if they don't want to do this, then they can vote this down and then we'll figure something else out. And that's that seems fine.
Agreed.
Agreed.
Way to
Okay.
go.
Then I tried to cluster, again, we've got a lot of articles, so, and same with the solar that you'll see coming up. But basically I tried to put some of these are more, well, I don't know if they're minor changes, but maybe not as controversial. And I did fix, is this right? The word breeding.
Yes.
You mean instead of breading? Yes.
From the human breeding, is that what it was? To the animal breeding?
No,
Versus breading them?
Oh, it
Yeah,
was breading. Oh, all right. Okay.
I think the way that you can look at these is that these are the modifications are more, we're trying to clarify things.
Yeah. But we do have a new one, and that's the adult entertainment. We talked about that. And then basically for bars, where do we want to put bars? And we talked about the village and the commercial. The battery stuff didn't change. So I put the change in definition. Basically, we're going to get rid of large and small solar, and we're just going to call it solar. And then adding a paragraph to have things out of chapter before applying for a special permit.
Looks good.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
I'm good
all.
with it.
Done.
so let me see if I close.
John's looking intently there, John Fidgel. John, that upper article is your article up there, right?
Well, I'm not sure that the townspeople are going to say no junkyards. I'm sure there's going to be people that are still would want to do that. But the way that it was worded in the previous thing with the auto auctions, it wasn't going to fit anywhere, is what my biggest concern was.
Right.
So, I mean, if the townspeople don't want any more, I mean, then they're going to vote this in. I'm sure you'll get some resistance to this. But from what I can gather from social media, it's not going to be a big resistance. There's only a handful of people that still, would like to do this kind of work. I don't know. The automobile auctions didn't fit in the commercial because you can't get the licensing for it. That's all I was trying to point out. But I mean, if the townspeople want to go ahead and do this, then it's entirely up to them. It really is. I know in like West Brookfield, you can't get an automobile graveyard or a junkyard in West Brookfield, no matter what you do. And I think that's why we have people coming into town to look to do this sort of work. I don't know. It's kind of a catch-22. I mean, you can't have the automobile auctions in the commercial, like I said, and then not be able to license them because it's not allowed. That was my main point of the argument. But I can see this all happening and not allowing any more junkyards, automobile graveyards, or auction facilities in town. I can see that coming this article.
Okay.
Thank you, John.
All right. So, well, now that I'm opening it, any other questions on the general bylaws?
Nope.
I'm
Okay.
good.
All right. So let me.
So can I see the change to the solar, merging the small and large?
So we're going to get rid of large solar. We're going to call it a solar energy facility. And then we're going to get rid of small.
Should we just call it commercial solar energy facility? Or does that still have it in its definition?
Let me see.
Because I don't think that you want to eliminate people having their own.
Right, no, so this
Nope.
would just be,
think Joyce is right. If we put it to commercial, and I thought that was what we talked about before, is commercial solar. Because again, we don't want to prevent the homeowner.
For individual use.
Right.
Right.
But it's the large scale or the small scale solar projects that are selling it, for profit, for commercial use. I think that's what everybody is worried about now.
Right, okay, and then when we look at the solar bylaw, it's gonna go, there's a component that goes with this, so.
Okay.
But I pulled this out of the solar amendments because it really deals with the use chart, which most of the changes here are dealing with the use chart, so.
Okay.
Although I don't know, maybe this should go back in the solar. We could make that decision tonight if that seems like the thing to do. All right,
Well,
so
what is that? Goes back to the solar. What do you mean?
let me pull that up. Let me see if I can do this. Let me save this first. Can you see that now?
No, we just see the one that went up.
Oh, okay. So I think I have to unshare. Hold on a minute. Over here. Share solar. Okay. All right, so where do we leave off with the solar? Okay, so basically, I kind of arbitrarily just grouped these just because we have so many things that we're changing.
So can you leave it still?
Yep.
Can you go back to the top?
Yeah, maybe what I should do is this.
Yeah. Should betterments and assessments be added to 61?
I'm just seeing that with Lori.
Where is this?
It was a chat.
Lori just chatted.
Roll back.
But which are we talking about? We're talking about the general bylaws, use, or we're talking about solar?
Standards.
I think Laurie's comment had to do with the general about making sure things are out of chapter 61.
Under solar in chapter 61.
Okay.
I don't know that zoning can change chapter 61, anything. Well,
No, I think that also goes into the assessor's office too on how that's done.
Yeah.
I think all we can do is say, you have to take it out of 61 to move forward.
So Lori is saying as a requirement before showing up for a special permit or site plan, land needs to be taken out of, in other towns, people are asked to take land out of chapter before it's in the bylaw. Well, apparently not everybody agrees, as in the assessor's office. At what point do we have the applicant take land out of chapter, right?
Well, I think that's why we wanted to make it clear by putting it in the solar,
it should go everywhere. You can't just stick it in solar, because then it would be.
Well, but if we put it under special permit, then it covers everything.
Right.
Don't we already have it in the bylaw, that's in the solar bylaw, that says it has to come out?
We do say you'd need proof. Yes, they have to submit documentation saying that they have to come out. But it's
the problem with that is they argue the whole intent part And we've gone over this over and over with this, Rich.
But Dave, Dave, we're not arguing the law. We're making it the bylaw that says you have to. It does
Right,
nothing to
and
do-
that's
it
how we
does-
want to
well,
make sure.
Well, that's what's in there. It says you have to have it taken out before you come for the permit for solar.
Yeah.
It says, it already says it in there.
Okay, so written confirmation from the Board of Assessors and the Collector of Taxes that all real estate rollback and conveyance taxes liens, including Chapter 61 liens, betterments, and special assessments are satisfied in full. So that's fine in solar, but I think what we want is an equivalent under special permit because, you know,
Right. I don't disagree for
so
everything else.
somebody else comes in
Right.
with some other project like auto auctions and
Yep. No,
Yeah.
that's good. Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought
For
you were just.
anybody.
Yeah, I thought you were just referring to the solar part, but it is in the solar part. But just take that wording and put it in just all special.
Sounds good.
so what is that?
Mm,
That's
that'll work.
Thank you, Rich.
12.3.2. All right, so here. Let me do this. Bear with me a sec. Just gonna share this screen. So what did I do with? I'm just gonna make that.
So Joyce, why are you hidden in a field somewhere and Rich is in the house?
There must be
I'm in the kitchen doing stuff while this is happening.
You get a ski lift in your kitchen?
Yeah.
That's a big kitchen.
That's a cool house.
You should see it. It's great.
All right, so I will, I'll rewrite this, but basically I'll make this look better.
Okay.
That sound,
Well, you're gonna take written confirmation board.
this is coming right out of
Yep,
the
that's
solar.
right out of the bylaw, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll just fix this so it looks the right way.
Right, okay.
All right. Everyone get a chance to look at Article A?
Yes.
There's nothing new here except the grouping.
And Tim's information is,
Well,
we need to make sure that that's like the updated.
okay, hold on a sec. Well, okay, so this
Yep,
was Tim's.
yep.
I think that was it.
And then things are like,
So yeah, we'll have to check with him.
okay.
All right, so Tim. Well, you know what? Yeah, okay. So this is Article B.
Oh, I see.
So we're talking about the batteries, insurance.
So on the second bullet, add to paragraph 12.3.5, the town may shall require, so one of those words should go out. Shall or may, did you?
Shall.
Okay.
Thank you. We talk about access roads, having an access road, having the entire project in the town, not sharing the property. And then this last bullet is the thing that works with the use chart that we talked about earlier.
Right.
So the only thing is, if this article were to fail and the other were to pass, they wouldn't jive. So looking at this now, I think we might have to combine. the two.
The usage chart is often separated by itself.
Yeah, but I'm actually changing the definitions here. And then the definitions won't even jive. You know what I'm saying? Like if I go back.
Oh,
Probably just
right.
put it all as one then.
Yeah,
So basically, basically I'll move these two things. Here, I'll just do this now. We'll just get rid of this. No, that's not it. Strike through. And we'll stick it. Ooh, wow, that went well. Like that. So now under that bullet is the whole thing dealing with the definitions.
Okay,
Is
that
that
works.
Makes sense.
Yep.
replace it with, and we need to do this. Right? I think that'll work. And I think last time we agreed just to like
Amendment.
just to change it to system to match.
There should be a severability clause so they don't, so if they don't like one part, they can't throw out the other.
Where would that go?
Lori, usually the Attorney General gives us that. There is a so if AG doesn't like part of the bylaw, we can keep everything else. But you're right, the town, you're saying so it should go in for the town? Before we bring it to the town floor. Sorry, my brain is slower. Yes, at the
Well,
end.
if that's here, that is already included in the bylaw already.
Well, I think the point is that so if people want to take portions out during town meeting, we don't mind everything, but this one section is miserable. Is that necessary? I guess that's a question for council, right?
Well, or I have a call into the Attorney General, basically asking something like that. Like say nobody likes this one.
Yeah.
Can we amend Article B and strike that bullet and still pass the rest of it?
Right.
And I haven't heard back, so.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay, Lori, I think we have a question on how to formally do that.
Okay, so I have a question here. I changed solar energy facility to solar energy systems. But do we want to change, this is like semantics, commercial solar energy system?
Why solar energy system and not facility?
I don't remember. I had notes last time that that's what we were changing. And I don't know if I'd be able to find it.
I think we just have to pick one and go with it.
Yeah.
You don't want to go back and forth.
Back and change solar. It's referenced 100 times in the bylaw, so just make sure it's changed.
Consistency.
Right. Solar energy facility to solar energy system. I guess
I'd say facility.
I would
Yeah,
say
I was gonna say facility.
because it's a facility and it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I should just get rid of, here, let me, so here's where the area in question. So I think we called this accessory energy solar systems, and then we said facility.
Okay, so there's a huge difference. The accessory solar energy systems are just things attached to people's homes and farms, and they could only use it on site. So it's a system, it's not a facility.
Yeah, right, okay.
That's different. So
With
the
the
facility
poles and
is,
Yeah,
the
okay,
facility is a commercial endeavor.
yeah, with the poles and the structures and the fencing.
Well, they all have poles and whatever, but
Oh, yeah.
It's energy for sale.
Okay, so I'm gonna get rid of this.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just gonna be okay. All right, so does this look okay now?
Can I look at this? Can you like email it to me?
You guys don't talk.
Yeah, from the office to the kitchen. Go ahead.
We just email. She's always on the slopes. I never get to see her.
Well, I don't know. The slopes are all green back there. I don't know how much skiing you're doing.
Wrong season. All right, so finally, then we just have the one that we're gonna limit the total number.
Oh.
Yep.
And we do need to confirm that number at some point.
15.
Yeah, I'm not.
Why?
Well, we can't do that.
It's too late.
15 may be too high, and I'm not sure how we determine that number. So how we got, somebody's got to have a handle on the count.
Well,
That's
how
a
many
handle
do we
on the
have in
count.
town right now?
Well, we've got Borrego makes 9. ZPT makes 10. They pulled out of Reed Street. So, and then there's Sunpin, that would be 11. And Sunpin's, if it, whatever happens with Sunpin on Brookfield Road. And then Sunpin has one on Brimfield Road. And I think that's it. So it could be 12, but let me double check.
All right, I'll just.
But we should leave room for one more.
Lucky number 13?
No.
No, seriously though, because all the other slots are taken, it is frowned upon to say that you're gonna ceiling out on something.
With all the slots taken.
Okay.
Right. So it's like putting, yeah. Yeah.
It's a hex number, a jinx number anyway, so no one's gonna want to apply for
Well,
that.
maybe we need to make it 14 then.
No.
No, I'm good with 13.
Yeah, 13 is good.
Whatever.
Okay. So I think that's it for solar bylaws and general bylaws. Any questions?
Nope.
No, you did a great job, Rich.
Okay, thank you. So the next thing would be then we talked about the.
Laurie wants to know if it can be 13.5.
You want half a solar site?
Yeah.
All right, so
My elbow disappears.
we talked about the checklist. So Ed, did you get a chance to incorporate the checklist? So I'll bring it, hold on a second. Oh my gosh.
No, I thought you were going to throw that in there.
Oh. Okay, I thought you were gonna do it.
No.
All right, well, we were gonna put this in the document that you can download from the site that has the site plan document list.
Now, Kathy, with this, am I correct that all we have to do is vote on this after, do we have to have a public hearing on it?
Yes,
And then after that, we can just vote on it and it's in, right?
correct.
Okay.
Oh, it has to be a public hearing?
Yes,
Okay.
we have to have one anyways.
So this hasn't changed from the last time, correct?
No, and I will pull down site plan. Give me a sec here. All right, so this is the document. Kathy, do you have this in a Word format? Actually, I might be able to just copy this. Okay. So I think what we do, Ed, where were we gonna put this?
The checklist.
Oh, right here.
Yeah,
So I think our checklist, right, would become the new section 3. Or maybe part of it.
part of it. I was gonna say the end. I'd
This
say
stuff
the
is fine.
end of
or maybe-
section 3.
Or maybe maybe we make a new section 4 and bump everything down. And leave section 3. Submission requirements. Yeah,
A good idea to address it head on before somebody brings it up. Oh, sorry.
what? Well, yeah.
So,
I mean, maybe like a section 3A, here's our checklist.
Well, but it's under submission requirements. Why would you need another? Why would you need another section?
Okay. All right.
It's the requirements. I just stick it right there at the end of section 3.
Right, because it's just a checklist clarification of what's been put up there previously.
Yeah.
Just makes it easier to read.
I have a dumb question, if you don't mind.
Sure.
On the previous page at number 7, it says that all land must be taken out of chapter 61 in order to apply for the special permit. What if the permit is denied right off the bat? That person that is scraping pennies to get by took all that land out of 61 or 61A or whatever, and now the project has been shot down. Now they've pretty much wasted all their money on paying the rollback taxes that were due in order to try to develop a land that is not developable, so to speak. If you go to that previous
Yeah, what was,
1 and 2,
give me a second.
you can put it back into chapter, I understand, but then you've already paid the taxes that were previously due for a project that you can't complete. Number 7, evidence that property is not 61. See it right there, phase 1. I understand you could put it back in, but you've already paid the taxes.
Oh, I see. Yeah, right.
Understood, but if somebody wants to take this land, I understand what Lori's saying, I understand what Rich is saying, but if somebody wants to take this land and develop it, they pay the taxes in order to apply for the special permit, and the project shut down right away. They've wasted a whole bunch of money once again. I'm just trying to protect someone that has the vision of doing a project and then it's shot down, and he spent all this money on the back taxes that were due, and he's going to put it right back at 61. He's not going to get the money back from the town.
I think at that point it's a risk that they would take, John.
Yeah.
Again, once you express intent, you're supposed to pull it out anyways.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, is the intent.
Once you express intent to change the use of that property, you're supposed to pull it out of chapter 61. And we're just codifying it and saying, yes, before you do that, you're gonna take it out of 61 to come to us with your permit.
Can I kind of comment to maybe clarify it?
Sure.
The chapter 61 laws are they don't exactly say that in chapter 61, but the intent of chapter 61 says that the intent of putting it into chapter 61 is for permanent use or for longevity. And it's not a place where you can warehouse property for speculation. But the issue becomes when you put your land in chapter, you sign an agreement with the town. You have a contract with the town, and that agreement, it does say in there that as soon as you have the intent to take it out of chapter, meaning as soon as you want to explore your explorations to do something else, then you have to take it out immediately. And that it's worded in there and you sign that. So that's always been the problem with the solar guys. You basically have a contract with the town, and then you're in violation of the town when you go to take out a permit. You know what I mean? And so that's why it's to clarify this mess. Most towns around make you do it. I know in Brimfield, when we have a lot of land in chapter in Brimfield, and every time we want to build a house, before we can do anything, it all has to come out. So I think that's what the intent here is to get it so everybody's on the same page.
And I think, you know, some of our discussion over the past few meetings has also been talking about, you know, with like this phase 1, phase 2, but I don't see why there can't be a phase 0 where if you just want to come to a meeting with, you know, an idea for a project on a napkin, then you don't have to really do anything, right? You can come and say, look, I'm thinking about this.
That's probably a pretty good option.
You know?
That's probably
I don't
process
think
of-
you need paperwork for that because you're just gonna come in and say, hey, I'm pitching an idea and I'd like to turn such site into a Walmart or a Chick-fil-A. Would that be something the town would be interested in? You know?
Yeah. I think that would be good to encourage. Because something like,
I think it's a good idea, yeah.
You know,
It does happen most of the time when somebody has a project, there's a client, and whoever he assigns or hires to do a project like this, he will go and investigate in the town bylaws, rules, and he will talk to everybody involved before submitting the plans for the project.
Yeah, I don't think we want to get into killing people with paperwork either, you know, and making this overly complicated.
What if you just move that down to the phase 2, the first thing on phase 2, instead of being the last thing on phase 1? I mean, would that hurt anything? Would that?
What do you mean?
Would that be outside of what Rich was saying about your intent to do something different with the land? Yeah.
Well, I think once you're doing this and you're coming forward with it's intent.
Well,
Yeah.
but I think if you had plan 0 and you just brought it up, it's not like you're actually physically going for a permit. And I think that's what the chapter is more about that. You know what I mean? If you're actually physically going for a permit, you have more than an idea. You've showed an actual intent. And I think that's why it has to come out. But I think the phase 0, like Rich brought up, I think that would be great. People come in, have a conversation. Does it look like it's something that would be worthwhile? You know, and then I don't think you have to take it out for phase 0. I think phase 1.
That's a very common practice.
Yeah.
I don't think we need a phase 0 for that. I think if somebody just, hey, I have an idea to pitch to you guys, and you know, they're not filling out anything. They're not requesting a site plan. They're not doing anything.
So
They're just presenting an idea.
They can do that now.
But you should have it listed somewhere that people know that that's an option, right?
yeah, I was going to say that. The other thing, David, I was going to say is that phase 0 or whatever. I thought you and Derick had worked on doing like a just show up, let's talk about this. Did you have that, Rich and Derick?
no.
I thought you guys were talking about something where you haven't applied for the permit yet, but you can come before the board. Phase 0.
Yeah, but it wouldn't go on this though.
Oh, okay. So it would be something else, but people would be informed of that. My point about like making it somewhat a formalized, informal procedure is that things get out of hand without like a set of rules or format to follow, right? So if there's like a little bit of a format to follow, you guys know what to expect and everybody else knows what to expect. So if you had a phase 0 and you defined whatever that was generically, even if it was a broad stroke, people would understand that they could do it, and then there would be a boundary they would hit against before they would get into the territory of, let's say, phase 1.
In some
They
towns,
wouldn't waste your time, right? Trying to
Yeah.
get it before the permit.
in some towns, they go into the other business and they just go and, you know, ask a few questions about the project. And the planning board will direct them to this guy or tell him, you know, you have to do this, this, and that. Maybe you want to adopt something like that where people just go in the item other business and come and ask, hey, I'm interested in doing this. Do you think I have a chance?
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm not sure where we would put this phase zero terminology or concept. I don't know where that would go, but it seems like a good idea.
Yeah, we could stick something. I mean, it doesn't have to be much more than a sentence or two.
Right, yeah.
Saying before you submit any paperwork to us, if you'd like to come in and say, this Walmart that I want to put in fits in this property. Is this something the town would be objection to? You know, would they object to this, or would they welcome it?
Come in and present an idea.
Right.
Yeah, we'll
Not specify a piece of land, but just say in general.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then you wouldn't violate that Chapter 61 contract.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Right. Okay. But if they come back and say, yeah, this is what I want to do, and it's something that, yeah, they could entertain, then it's like, okay, you go to phase one.
Right.
Take this and go. Yeah, okay. You want me to work up a statement, Rich, we can stick in somewhere?
Yeah.
That's fine. We can also end up putting the, well, you got the fees in here too, right?
In this document?
Yeah, did you put the fees in here?
No, I didn't. No, this is the one off you sent.
Fees $200.
Yeah, this is the only. Right, is there any other? Well, that's just for the mailing. I don't know where
That's to put the legal notice in the paper.
Yeah. Somewhere else we have the fee schedule for, like, you know, applying for a special permit and that sort of thing.
That's in the special permit application, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
I think Richard has his hand up.
Well, it's been up for a while, so I'm going to lower it. Richard, do you have anything?
Lower my hand. I'm on my phone and I keep forgetting to turn the damn thing off.
Be tired by now.
Okay, so I'd add the checklist in here. We'll figure out some way to stick that phase zero concept in.
Maybe an open door policy.
Ooh,
Yeah, that's not a bad.
I like that idea.
Yeah, the planning board has an open door policy for you to, you know,
Present your ideas and thoughts.
present an idea, yeah.
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 Before formally applying, sure.
Yeah.
Kathy, do you have this in a Word document?
I'm gonna have to check. I think we do.
Okay.
Rich, I can convert that into a Word document.
Yeah, I mean, I can copy it too, but.
I can save it as and make it a Word document. Let us know, Kathy.
David, you had something?
No, I was just saying that, yeah, if we just phrase it as like something more inviting, like open door policy or something versus like phase zero.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
sounds
Yeah,
like
no,
we're,
no.
we're on
Phase
an
zero is out,
episode
no.
of Star Trek or something
Yeah.
like that, you know? Beat me up with phase zero.
Yeah, but we've set that to stun, so it's not so bad.
All right.
All right, so is that it for, I think,
Yeah.
right, we talked about the wind turbine moratorium, so I think that's pretty much done. And I think that's it.
Good job.
Yeah.
So
Yay.
Kathy,
Rich.
we have to figure out the public hearing stuff now. For all this, I guess.
Well, that we could set at any time, but
So we need one for the bylaw changes and then one for the you know, the site plan checklist.
Could probably do it the same night, I
I
would
was to
think.
say, is there any reason we have to have two public hearings?
Yeah, okay.
Can you do it the same night?
I would
Yeah,
think
see
so.
why not?
Why not?
Before we decide on this, let's get our legal review on it first, though.
Yeah,
Because again, we don't want to present something to the residents that we legally cannot do. So
Joyce,
let's
that
get our
time-
legal review first.
That
You mean like we
timeline-
did at the last bylaw? Oops.
Joyce, do you have that timeline?
Yeah, let me see if I can find it right now. I
See,
thought
we
I
can
sent
barely email each other. It's, you know.
Maybe you should have a meeting once a day,
You
Yeah.
guys are married, right?
an in-person meeting. Not
Hey,
even
Rich, you could go meet her at the foot of the ski slope.
Yeah, right. At the bar.
Yeah, at the bar, yeah.
where they serve food.
to have.
All right. So I think I will unshare, and I think I'm all set then. With that stuff.
Okay,
So we all ready to share that with Jeff Blake and the crew?
Well, I need to do the checklist and then make those couple revisions. And I
Right.
think, unless you want to see it again,
No,
well,
I think
I gotta write up the phase zero, the open door blurb too.
so. We probably should schedule another meeting to review it again.
Do we know when the town May town meeting is? David?
Yes,
It's always,
but it's not firm yet.
so
what
it's
we're looking at-
usually like the second Wednesday or something like that?
It's a Saturday.
oh, Saturday.
It's not a Saturday?
Yes.
So more people can come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
good.
Wow.
We talked about it
And then
last
this
time.
way, everybody doesn't have to be up till like 1 o'clock in the morning, doing it. It's in
Right,
the afternoon.
going through all these bylaw changes.
That's right.
Well, since you guys are doing this, we don't need to, 21 days, but,
Well, we're holding the special.
oh, when's the special?
I had it written down here. I think we were looking at March 27th.
So the special is going to be March 27th and the annual town meeting will be just 2 months after that? That's a lot of work.
Nitpicking, Joyce. Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and with the special, we're just looking at specific articles that are affecting things immediately right now, like public safety, things that cannot wait.
Okay.
So, we're looking at the radio system for police and fire, and there was some costs that came up that we have to deal with. Adam's emergency vehicle, his Explorer, the engine went in that, so that had to get repaired. And then we're down a fire engine too. We got a lot of stuff coming up.
Okay.
So we want to do another meeting on this then? our final meeting before we send it to Jeff?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
probably,
What's,
Could we do it after the executive session on Wednesday? Just to move things along quickly.
I don't have time to repost it if I have to.
Yeah. We can do next Monday.
yeah, we meet on the 1st.
I emailed you, Rich.
Excellent.
Which one?
So next Monday at 7:15, we'll finalize this before we send it to legal.
sure.
Yeah.
So I
So
can,
let's move on with the agenda then.
so I can call for a motion to pay Kathy.
I motion to pay Kathy for payroll. How much?
$283.96.
$283.96.
Second,
Aye.
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 Thank you.
You're welcome.
Call for a motion to approve and sign the minutes.
I have some changes to the December 28th minutes. So I don't know how we want to deal with that.
Send me the changes and we'll table it till next week.
Okay.
Okay.
Basically, just real quick, I just want to have on record the fact that they were talking about paying about $170,000 in taxes. Also that they said if the town doesn't want this, then they will walk away. And they also were going to correct the ownership on the special permit application. So I just want those in the minutes. So,
Tell me where you want me to put it. Send me a little note.
yeah, okay. So I don't know, do you want to table all these or just the December 28th?
If the other ones are fine, I would go ahead with those.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I'll make a motion to accept the minutes for January 4th and December 16th.
We have a second?
Second.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I make a motion to table the minutes for December 28th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, so now we turn into other business.
Yeah.
Start with that, or
So the thing about Evan Turner, I just wanted to, actually Joyce and Rich had come up with the wording that we just need to make sure that if he does an easement, how we're gonna handle that. And we have questions for Jeff on how that all works. And so I just wanted to run that by you, and David, I want to, send that. in
Or
an
even
email
if
to
we
Jeff.
have to do that,
What?
maybe we don't even have to allow him to do that.
I'm not sure that we have any control over someone doing an easement.
Okay.
No.
Well, I think
But-
because the public utilities, we have no say over it.
But if he's doing the easement to put solar related stuff on that piece of land, then we may have a say in that. I don't know.
So
So,
David, the National Grid, being a public utility, has a lot of things that they can do that can be uninhibited by. But
Right.
this is not National Grid. This is Evan Turner. National Grid is the actual grid. This is Evan Turner wanting to put his power line into the grid. It's not National Grid wanting to put the power, it would be Evan Turner that would be filing for the permit, not National Grid. That's why I don't think he can do it. If National Grid wanted to file for a permit, they're certainly allowed to do it. But when we build a house and we have to set poles on a piece of property, the landowner is the one that has to, you're asking for permission to let them put their poles on there. So I think that's why you don't, so by him just saying, well, I'm just gonna grant an easement and I'm gonna put this through here, well, then he's granting an easement to circumvent the bylaw. Because
Right.
Richard, wouldn't he have to then come before planning again to get a permit?
well, absolutely, he would have to apply for a variance because that specifically says that that's part of a large scale solar, and he didn't. You know, he already went for a variance for the driveway, but that application for his variance for the driveway was really lacking. He missed a million things. You know what I mean? And so this is just another one that he would have to apply for a variance before he could put those poles in there, according to the bylaw. That's why I don't think he could just grant an easement and say, I'm gonna put these poles through here. Because then I could grant an easement to myself and put a Walmart in.
So, okay, so do we even need to send this to council, or, I mean, are we?
Well, I think you would want to get town council's ruling on it, and then I think it would be prudent to send him a letter and says, you know, you brought this up in a meeting that you were gonna grant yourself an easement and run these poles. And we just, you know, we conferred with town council and our opinion is you can't do this. If in fact, town council agrees with us, which I think you will.
You might not.
You might not, but I mean, you know, because it's this, the key is this is not National Grid trying to do this. This is Evan Turner trying to do it.
Right.
So the thing is that Evan would be giving National Grid, because they own the poles, an easement to put the poles up.
Right.
For his solar
Is
project.
giving
For his
Evan
large-
Turner
for
or
his
ASD or, you know?
Right. So if I'm building a house, I have to put poles to my house. I have to grant National Grid an easement to set the poles. So that's an accepted practice. But these aren't poles. This is a large scale solar according to our bylaw.
And so never in these cases is National Grid actually getting the easement. It's the owner of the property.
It's the owner. National Grid requires you to have an easement before they'll put their poles on your property.
Well, no, National Grid is given the easement. He's given.
No, National, you have to go get it, right, yes, but they won't touch you.
I actually looked up the process last night and I have there's like a whole set of paperwork and whatever.
Well, I'm familiar with it. We do it every job.
Yeah, no, this is like, I looked it up for going the other way. So for solar and for large industrial facilities. But anyway, it's like the same thing, sure.
It's the same process.
Same thing. It's the same process. You have to give them an easement to put their poles on your property.
Right, yeah. Okay.
They are not right. They're not all the powers that National Grid has is so they can expand their own thing. If they were trying to run power, put a new substation in and they had to run new wires, you couldn't stop them from that because that's their grid and that's the public utility. But this is not the public utility. This is a private entity trying to tie in, and it's a bylaw issue.
Okay.
So we'll reach out to Jeff. I'll send him something tomorrow. Let him know that he was denied the variance through the ZBA. And now he's looking to do an easement through his property for the telephone poles for National Grid.
Well, it's the pole farm. Yeah, it's the pole farm.
So David, is it okay if I email that directly to him?
Yes.
Jeff? Okay. All right, I'll do that tomorrow. And then maybe if he gets time, we could talk about it on Wednesday. If not, whatever, but.
Got to add it to the agenda. Kathy's giving that look. It's not happening.
Shut down. All right. Well, he can, it's something that can be handled with a reply email. So,
Yeah.
Okay. And then the other thing I brought up was just the scope of work for Beaman. So, Joyce, is this something that we would give to tech to, we can't hear you.
Okay, I gotta run and I might be doing a little emergency run right now, so.
Oh, boy. Okay.
All right.
All right. Hey, Richard, do you know anything about this?
About what?
The scope of monitoring services for Cutler Road extension.
Yeah, Joyce wrote something up about it. We talked about it. Yep.
So is this something that's supposed to go to tech to tell them how to like quote the job?
Right. Yep. Yeah, that's what
okay.
that's what you guys would want to get out of. That's what you guys would be looking for this project.
Okay.
Yep.
So I don't know, did anybody have a chance to look at this?
I haven't.
Okay.
When did you send it?
Well, Joyce sent it out January 23rd.
Okay.
May I suggest that we start thinking about putting on a folder on the cloud, like Google Drive, for example, all these documents, so we're not looking around on emails and searching. If we have a directory, for each project, a public directory, and people can go and look at things.
Yeah, good idea.
So for example, if this
Yeah.
file, we send it on an email and one of us is in charge of, okay, I'm gonna put it on the folder for this project. And we all have access, we cannot modify it, and it's public.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna create it and then we can work around just for future things. So, because sometimes it's very difficult to look at stuff or search on emails, and in this case, go there and it's like searching through your directory.
Yep.
By project, we have this X, Y, and Z project, you open it up and that's all the documents organized.
So like with Copart, would we put all the Copart stuff up there?
Correct. That's what I'm thinking. I'm gonna start by doing that way. So if anybody wants to look at the pictures, we just point them at the Copart folder, which should be public, so everybody can see it.
Good idea.
It's all public anyway, right? So.
Exactly. So I'm gonna organize that with Kathy, so Kathy can manage it, because she's the one who's sending us all the documents. Be very easy for you.
There's a lot going on right now with the building department. It's gonna be
We'll get
tough.
it. Don't worry.
Okay, because I'm overworked right now, underpaid.
Or Derick, can you make a couple of us like co-administrators or something like that?
Yeah, we all were gonna be, we all gonna be able to upload things
Okay.
over there, and it's gonna be public, but the restrictions are gonna be like, you cannot delete anything. You can,
Okay.
people can go and look at it, and that's it.
Okay.
David, do we have other business?
No. Just getting pummeled by my dog over here.
That's
He hasn't
okay.
seen me for a while, so.
Anybody not in the planning board has anything for other business? I think we're good. Should we call for our next meeting?
So Feb 1st, right?
The first,
Okay.
7:15 via Zoom.
Excellent.
Motion to close?
So moved.
You got a second?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
You
Good night.
Nice.